Thumb, and they go to Winn-Dixie, and they go to, all the other, market centers and things like that, shopping for the best price for what they had. And I thought about those people as they come through the line. And my mind would think they're shopping for the best price. They're shopping for the best word. Because I believe that if you have an understanding of who God is, and you started to put God on the inside of you, I believe that God's speaking to you. I believe that He's speaking to you. And that when He speaks to you, I think you should listen. And the problem with a lot of times people, when they ask, tell me what God's will for me in my life is, you've already heard, you don't like what you've heard, and you're looking for some other answer. And the problem with that is, you can go to lots of different people and they can tell you what they think God's will is for your life, but if you haven't heard it first, you better shelve what they say. Meditation on the Word of God, getting in touch with the will of God for your life is all that Step 11 is all about. What is God speaking to you? I think people need to have some direction in their life. I think you need to know where you're going to be in 5 years. I know you talk to a lot of young people that are not but 15, maybe 16 years old. They say, I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years. They don't have enough history. But by the time you get to where Jim and I are, we should be able to say, you know what, in 5 years from now, this is what I hope to see happen. This is what I'm planning. This is where I'm going. With God's help, I'm going to get there because I believe that that's inspiration from the Holy Spirit. Step 11 is about the placement of our relationship to God and where we've put that in our heart. And I know a lot of people, when they come to church, they think that church should take the place of them having to build a relationship with God. I know a lot of people that go to other churches, they go to church because that's a substitute for them building a relationship with God. They feel like if they can go and they can hear from somebody up there in the pulpit and they can get some kind of direction for their life, that they've got that now and they don't have to worry about it getting it on their own. And I'm telling you, that's the wrong way. You need to have a clear understanding about what God is speaking to you, what God is saying to you. Because if you're not getting that, then there's something obviously wrong. So, how do we get that? Well, first off, it takes having a relationship. Now, while I love the fact that Mark's got a job that he loves, things have changed in our household. They have. He is up very early. Yes, there is a God. And he's up very early, which in his former job, he didn't have to do that. And he would kind of lay around, and rightfully so, because he worked late. So I could see why he needed to sleep in, but maybe not as long as I thought he should. I wanted him to get up to spend time with me. I'm up, I'm awake, I'm ready to go. Because when I go off to speak during the week, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning, so I'm kind of getting up early anyway when he's not. But see, in this new job, he likes to get up and he likes to go work out. Well, he meets his trainer at 6 o'clock on work days. So that means he's up at 5:30, and I'm still sleeping in bed. So there is a payback, and I'm loving every moment of it. Loving every moment. So he'll come back and he'll shower and he'll go to work and I'll still be in bed. And I'm thinking, yeah, there is a mighty God out there that has a sense of humor. But along with him getting up and going to work now, though, the change that I'm really speaking of, not that he's getting up because he's always been able to do that. He can do that for what he wants to do. Every one of us can. We do what we want to do. When we want to get up, we do those things. We get up and get them going. But one of the things that I don't like about his new job is that he's having to spend a lot of time studying new software for the job that he's got. And he is in deep, deep, deep training all day long. Now, before, we would talk 3, 4, 5, 6, hourly. Just talk all the time. And suddenly, if I get a text out of him during the day, I feel really good. Now, part of me hates that. But there's a part of me that really likes it. Because now I have uninterrupted time with God. When I sit at my desk in the morning after I've gotten up, he's gone, fed the cat, Henry's found a place to hide and go to sleep, and I'm there now at my desk, it's just me and God. And I tell you, there is nothing like that silence that comes when it's just you and him. Televisions are off, earbuds are out of the ears, nothing's on, you're sitting there, and you have dedicated the next however long that you spend that you are going to be reading the Word of God, and you're expecting that Word to leap off of the page and become life. And suddenly, I tell you, your whole world begins to change. Because you're building a relationship. Now see, while I understand what he's doing and he's having to do for this new job, and it's a season. It's a season, and it's deep work that he's having to go through. Because, I mean, this software is so new that the trainer is making changes on it. What was today is not what it looks like tomorrow, because they've had writers rewriting the programs overnight. So every day is just kind of be curious what it's going to be like from one day to the next. So I know he's in lots of study, lots of training while he's there. And we could lose our relationship if we allowed that to happen because of the silence, the non-communication. But the goal of every relationship is to spend time communicating, to spend time listening. And if that time is not given, how can you have a relationship? I can't carry on a relationship with somebody that I can see, much less someone that I cannot see, unless I spend time with him. People say, oh, I've been born again a long time. Well, I said, was that the last time you heard from God? And with a lot of people, unfortunately, it is. You know, they got saved, and thank God I'm saved now. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Well, you know, I got news for you. You still need to worry about that relationship. You still do. Even if it takes you going to Pittsburgh, right, George? Keeping that phone line hot between here and there. But I have to do what I can do. I have to focus my time now, spending my time more focused, because I'll be out speaking this week. So I've enjoyed the past week or so. Him being at work, me being able to hear very clearly, very distinctly, listening. Not spending a lot of time on the phone. I haven't talked with anybody, hardly anyone this week. Mark will come home and he'll say, well, have you talked to anybody from the church? I say, no, not really. You didn't call anybody? No, I was just really, really into what I was doing today. Because it's a time to draw closer to God. You see, in step 4, we wrote about all of our character defects. Boy, didn't we find out some things about that. And then in 8, we started talking about making amends. You know, going to those people that we hurt, that we'd injured by our own character defects, and making amends where possible. But see, now that we've kind of gotten all of the dirty laundry out, cleaned, and now what do? Well, now we get a better relationship with God. Had we had that to begin with, probably none of this other stuff would have amounted to anything. We actually worked this. The problem is, so many people don't know that. I think about all the television and movie and entertainment stars that are out there that go to rehab. And there's a bunch of them. And the reason why they end up going to rehab again is they can work a program, and you can take substances away from them, but unless you give them something instead that's stronger, they have nothing to rely on, and they come back out and they re-abuse those same substances. But here we're being taught that, you know what? It is a relationship with God that you've got to have. We make exchanges in life. I make an exchange for all the substances that I could possibly abuse in this world for one who will take me into life, not death. It'll help me see everything differently. Relationships are about communication. And you cannot have a relationship without communication. You can't. So when people tell me, oh, I've got a great relationship with God, and I say, well, when was the last time you spoke to Him? A lot of times I'll hear, oh, this morning, I was praying this morning and I heard from God, or I was reading my Bible this morning and I heard God really speak something really firm into my life. But a lot of times it breaks my heart when people say, oh, I don't remember the last time I prayed. There'll be a need and they're praying, they're on their knees. Boy, somebody's hurt, injured, a family member's been in a car wreck, dire straits, they're on their knees. But when times are good, we forget about that. And I see a lot of relationships. We saw a cute movie, I can't remember the name of it, but it was built on relationships and how different relationships falter because we start to take things for granted. And a lot of times in our Christian walk, we begin to take God for granted. And things be kind of sliding back. But that's the reason why He says, you know what, you've got to have a renewal. You've got to have a renewal. It's time to draw close. That's why Paul said, pray without ceasing. Never stop. If you've got something to write down with, I'm going to give you some scriptures that I think will really help you. Luke chapter 6. Luke's making all kinds of things. We talked about him a little bit this morning because he actually wrote the book of Luke and he wrote the book of Acts. And so he saw things from a very technical kind of aspect. He was a doctor. So he saw things more critically than a lot of the other Gospels did. And he makes this statement, and it really kind of is a slap to a lot of people. He makes a statement, love your enemies. Go ahead and love them. Oh, we don't want to do that. It's that paradox. Why should I love somebody that doesn't love me? Because when you love them, you're going to set yourself free from all of that backsided stuff that doesn't work. Do good to them. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to pray for those people. He goes on to say that. Pray for them. Lend to them. Do good to them. He's saying, you know what? Remind yourself about how strong your relationship with God is. Matter of fact, Jesus made this statement, which I thought was, it took me a long time to kind of get through the preliminaries of what the gospel was saying. He says, you must hate your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. You must hate them as in comparison to how much you should love me. And I thought, hate them. And it was not that he wanted us to hate these people. It's just that he wanted us to so much more love him. And how can you love somebody if you really don't know them? Unless you spend time with them. You know, I think honeymoon periods are wonderful, but you know what? I think a relationship has got to maintain that honeymoon-ish kind of thing going on. Because without that, the fun, the excitement, the involvement all drastically changes. And your relationship with God shouldn't ever do that. He makes a statement, he says, love your enemies, do good to them, and lend to them. Be merciful. Oh God, I don't want to. Do not judge. Do not condemn those people, but forgive them. That's really what St. Francis was getting all of that song, that poem from, was doing good to those other people. You know, I've learned I've got to remember a lot, like in Luke 6:45, that it is the good man out of the good treasure of his heart that brings forth good things. Well, if you're not constantly putting good things in your heart, how can you pull good things out? I cannot go to a bank, as many banks as I'd like to. I cannot go to a bank and pull money out of that bank. Well, they've got lots of it, supposedly. But unless I've got some money in that bank, I can't take money out. So I've got to be willing to invest my time critically involved in those things that are important to me. I've got to invest me. I've got to invest my time. And if I've got the most important relationship in my whole life is with God, then I've got to be willing to spend the bigger part of my time invested with Him.